Hello, various ghosts and ghouls. I hope everybody is having a wonderful day so far. Yeah. We're continuing in control where... Actually, I don't remember what we were doing. We tackled a bit of the mold, but I don't think we're high enough level for it. We need to... Need to find the prime candidate program for the main objective. We have another power-up we can acquire. We can go and deal with the anchor now. And we can do interdimensional goofiums. I don't think we'll do quite yet. So we'll do the anchor to begin with. So, we're here back again in control. I wanted to stream several times earlier in the week, but I could not due to the fact that I or was previously sick last week or earlier this week, or the not resting, but the after effects of a carpet cleaning in my office may have given me lung rot, which has led me to cough and hack in a wonderful fashion. Need to go over here. Really wish I remembered where we needed to go. I don't think it's here because we're able to teleport in. But I was able to do a workday today without coughing too terribly much, so we're having a late night stream instead. Very much in the mood for it as well, because I think I have been... Oh no. I've been infected by the spirit of Remedy Games specific kind of topics as part of work today, so I want to get to that at some point, but I don't think we'll begin with that, given the fact I desperately need to kind of get my bearings right here. Because this is, frankly, game journalism energy I'm exhibiting. Oh, no. Okay. You know, this is fine. There have been many times I have, not sunken into the pit of despair, but been betrayed by my greed, let's say. And I think this might be a case of me being a bit cheap here, so I'm going to try and get some levitation upgrades, then... Yeah. We didn't need the levitation upgrades, I just needed the sprint, but that's fine. So... Last time in control... If I recall correctly, it was... involving, like... We finally found our brother, which is our raison d'etre in the scope of the game. Oh, and as part of that, we basically went to find him in his cage because the Bureau has captured him for reasons unknown. Well, initially it was because he was afflicted with the knowledge of being politically inconvenient. Given the fact that he knew of severe, like, paranatural problems and, you know, kind of humiliating for the Bureau to have to, be rescued by a bunch of kids. Oh dear. Which is the pre-plot of the game, where in the fair town of Ordinary, where something occurred, presumably related to the Hiss, based off of the context clues we've gotten from Jesse here, and nearly had the universe destroyed as a result. I know this isn't Nemi Blood. Did Nemi previously play this game, Kaladin? But our brother is Dylan, who's captured by the Bureau. Then we spend the rest of our lives up to this point, so like 20-something years, trying to find our way back to him with the help of our psychic friend, Polaris, who is the, not space monster, but, you know, kind of psychic entity that is allowing us to meld so well with the astral plane. And our brother seems to have gone a little bit cray-cray, given the fact that he's half possessed by the Hiss, and... we have no idea whether or not if he's working with the Hiss or not. Though given the fact that he's kind of weird, I think there's a decent chance that he might be. Which will be a fun endgame twist, because I don't recall if he is or not. Why does he want you to post Death Stranding? Like he wants you to play the video game Death Stranding? I was actually thinking about that, given my fascination with Hideo Kojima, but I have mentally declined to do so at this point, given the fact that that game seems really boring. Because, like, isn't it technically the epitome of a walking sim? Don't get me wrong, I love Kojima, but, you know... I'm saying this, but I'm thinking there's, like, Die Hardman. We don't know if there's some minds to exploit with, some Xi Jinping Winnie the Pooh fanfics like we had in Metal Gear Solid, which will be fascinating. It is indeed a Strand-type game, as we learned from our great philosopher, Video Game Donkey, and everyone of his ilk. Which is always exciting. So I'm not sure if Donkey made that up as like a meme, or if like Kojima is just that high on his own agitprop. Given the fact that like Kojima is more than a little weird, champ, I would believe it.
Object of power? They're just standing there, mesmerized by it.
Thank you, Jesse. That, is concerning. I don't know why an X-ray would be able to hypnotize people. Like, I've heard of fan death before, where that's like folklore pertaining to like fans somehow like oscillating your air to cause you to die. I don't think I've heard anything along the lines in regards to X-rays providing a abuse of the mind. I mean, if we listen to the detractors of Victoria 3, Kaladin, isn't Vicky 3 truly the walking sim of grand strategy games? Now, I myself don't believe that, but I think many people who are anti-Victorian would agree. Slander? Is it slander if it's truth to some? I mean, legally, yes, but it's not the purpose I'm trying to get here. Alright, so the best thing we have is that. Makes sense given the fact that that should still be in view here. So no. I can't believe you hate private construction. My beloved boy. But, I don't know, I think that there is gameplay to be had in...
Please state your name for the record. Paul Warren, astronaut first class. And you are aware that exposure to the astral plane can result in death, disability, personal injury, corporeal untangling, cognitive collapse, loss of ego, and partial to full dementia? Yeah. I am. And you acknowledge that your use of the astral conduit, aka the X-ray light box, is purely voluntary? Yes, I do. Perfect. Your suit is good? Okay, you're all set. Open the door for Mr. Warren, please.
Oh no, I think this is great. I think this is the greatest patch that Victoria's ever had, and like, pretty pog about it. Use C's to complete the Astral Plane's challenge. Golden copy NPC variation. How do I seize them? Enemies at low health can be seized. Oh, this is mind control. I gotcha. Fascinating. Alright. And they're all dead. No.
Their brains were fried when I took over the object.
Why do we keep killing our employees? No, but I suppose now is a good time to go over it. Part of the reason why we're playing this today, besides the fact that I wanted to, is that I had a weird thought today while at work and talking with a coworker. And, like, Control, in a sense, is a game that is about, I guess all the Remedy games in general, is about finding out how the world works. And as part of that, sorry, I'm trying to figure out how to get to the Prime Candidate program. I guess we'll start in logistics. Hello, Blobber. How are you today? But it began with like a curmudgeon conversation. We were talking about how these kids today are a little bit weird, champ. To use the parlance of kids today. And like, I came to the realization that like, I think the reason why brain rot seems so weird is that we have like a weird cultural contact language evolving as like a more nonsensical Creole patois among these youths today. And I don't know how to explain it, but like then going to stall for time by saying, I'm doing pretty well. I had a very good day at work today, and got a lot of meandering progress done as I'm attempting to code a thing that will process data for us. Because I'm trying to build up a portfolio to prove that I'm capable of doing data science, which I'm increasingly realizing that I'm not qualified to do data science at Amazon right now, given the fact that they want us to do generative AI research. I have not seen the Jive Talking. I might have actually seen the Jive Talking, depending on like who did it. The Tennyson Report. So sad, so strange, the days that are no more. For years, the Federal Bureau of Control has been wrongfully forcing a philosophy upon itself and its people. This philosophy is known to you all as science. We all realize that the concepts we explore here are mystic ones, using words like paranatural and para-utilitarian to create the illusion of a scientific structure, a tidy little system. The Bureau is desperate. Wait, I'm sorry, this is getting...
The Bureau is so desperate to stand with the closed-minded code of logic and data that has overrun our society. If a thing cannot be quantified, then we dismiss it outright. We live in an age that is openly hostile to faith and the veiled forces governing our reality. I must remain anonymous, for fear of reprisal from the anti-esoteric bureaucrats watching us from their plush offices. Those same bureaucrats, Trench and Darling chief among them, have been steering us away from the Bureau's arcane foundations for decades now. It is time we corrected course. If you stand with me, share this message. We are not alone.
I hope you all enjoyed my best ability at doing an Alex Jones, and proof above that my lungs are, well, at the very least, voice box is at least semi-functional. But like, when I think data science, I think like economist stuff, where you use data to tackle a problem, where like it looks like they're looking for computer programmers who are less dumb. Or that is mean, given the fact that like computer programming is a very difficult skill. But like computer programmers who are bigger picture focused, which is weird. No, I realized I was at the end of my rope with my Alex Jones powers there, and you know, sometimes you have to be satisfied with a partially complete project. Sometimes it has to be good enough. No, but like, what's been befuddling me here is... oh dear. double O deer, is kind of like the evolution of our language is like in part due to who do you want to play with on Sunday? We're already arranging that, Kaladin. I don't think on stream, given the fact that we already have an avenue for that, is the most appropriate place. As always with anything I do, it is anyone who desires it. I only added people who were in the last one. Otherwise I would have added Finboy and others who were in Day 1 MP, but I don't all know who's interested. Yeah. The place where I'm adding people. Oh. So we're definitely not doing that here, but we'll leave that up to dice rolls if we actually have as many people who have sideways committed. Alright, darling. Astral Spike?
An early hypothesis was that the mindscape of the astral plane is subjective, but that was fast proven wrong.
No. This is about the oldest house.
Investigating a suspect. August 4th, 1964. We discovered the oldest house while investigating a suspected altered world event case in the New York City subway tunnels. The agents found their way up into the building. Once we became aware of it, it was there. For the rest of the population, it was hiding in plain sight. A slippery blind spot, seemingly discouraging observation. It's a place of power. An ongoing AWE of its own, seemingly adhering to its physical outer constraints and yet constantly breaking the known boundaries of reality. It's unstable, shifting. Note, for more details on control points and the research and process to stabilize and secure the core sectors, refer to a separate presentation. After extensive research and investigation, the Bureau made the building its headquarters on November 13th, 1968. The Federal Bureau of Control was never out in the open. This was always an obfuscated, classified top-secret operation. So imagine our surprise when the building's observation-resistant aspects began in some unquantifiable way to affect the Bureau as a whole.
How do you get hired at the Bureau? Spare footage. Oh, right, them all being awkward. Okay. But like, the idea that I'm kind of trying to percolate in my head here is like the evolution of a contact language that is very highly referential, which I'm not sure if that's like a linguistic thing or the fact that there is a lot of like referentialness. Oh, good heavens. It's a dog. Self-reflection. Where we have I don't know what I'm trying to get across, which is making this more difficult.
I will stall for more time with Dr. Trench.
After North Moore stepped down, I doubled every effort to find new prime candidates. There was no one. No one but me. That wasn't good enough. I pushed hard. I never wanted the Bureau to end up in that situation again. The Bureau needs a director. Always. When my time reaches an end, I want more options on the table. P1 through P5 were all false leads, dead ends, and disappointments. Then P6, Dylan Faden. He fell into our arms. No parents. They're gone. Casualties of an AWE. The boy has exceptional talent. The oldest house will be his home. We'll build him from the ground up. He'll be trained and taken care of. Darling can be in charge of this project. I can't. I'll stay away. I will not fail the boy like I failed my own family. My daughter and my wife. We weren't careful enough back then. Something came home with me. I took work home. My Susanna got sick. When I realized my mistake, I wanted to bring her here for Darling to do what he could. Kate flat out refused. Civilian doctors treated our daughter, but they didn't have a clue. She died. Kate left me. Same old story. That was a long time ago. The Bureau is all I have now. And the prime candidates are our future. There are two, P6 and P7. We're spoiled for choice.
Look at this photograph. I don't know if
Our future. P6 and P7.
every time you it makes me laugh. Every time I say the word it, that's unfortunate then, because I say it a lot. No, but like, I want to say before I attempt to scuttle back into my, attempts at a philosophical content here. It's both husband fault and wife fault, given the fact that the daughter's sick already due to supernatural reasons. You go to the best doctors. It's like, I have, what's a disease that's not a normal one? I have lupus. And I start seeing, like, shamans. Because I only believe in shaman medicine. Which actually probably won't help, given the fact I don't think we ever had the concept of what lupus was before we had modern medicine. But that little tidbit aside, I learned a very famous woman has lupus. It was very surprising. Natalie Richmond. No, that's just a generic lady's name. The lady in Only Murders in the Building has lupus, which is the befuddling thought. No. No, that's a skill issue on my part. No, but we have, like, Skibbity Riz, Ohio, and, like, Gat, and all these things. No. She was in Transformers. Probably not, actually. They're an individual who is widely regarded, given the fact that when I didn't remember her name at work, my coworkers were surprised. But probably for the best, Kaladin, given the fact I don't think that's the appropriate actress. But more importantly, we have like this evolution of like a bespoke language that is highly referential and only kind of understood by like these children. And like the reason why I jumped to a Creole, even though I'm uncertain if it is sufficiently appropriate, is the fact that it is kind of like a weird evolution of like multiple different groups getting together to create kind of their own thing. And as a result, we have like what I was trying to elucidate earlier, a very highly referential language in the form of what we call brain rot nowadays. And the entire reason why I'm trying to couch it in these terms is like, I'm trying to fight against the instinct that us olds have to just blame these kids for being, once again using their own vernacular, a little bit weird chant. Given the fact that there is a lot of like, not value necessarily, but like, there is something going on there. We might not understand what's going on there, but it is something. And sound hallucination or not, we have people who are able to understand each other in what I'm going to define for the purposes of like linguistic goofums as a kind of contact language where people talk at each other and are able to understand what the hell is going on. Much better than either you or I can. Good God, that's disconcerting. At least this was the thought. I mean, you're not wrong, Kaladin, in regards that it won't be a long-lasting thing, but I think that's kind of the point. Where you have the shortness of the life of the thing being the operative benefit. Where you're able to cycle through the new, the now, and the it. And I think that is kind of there because of like the cultural touchstones we normally have that influence kind of cognitive thought and speech are going from like the normal kind of like
You know, central controlled thing.
to kind of a more democratized goblin-focused platform. The reason why I'm couching it in these terms entirely is given the fact, oh no, it's a Threshold Kids. Given the fact that we have like, wait, Bright Falls, that's Alan Wake.
But before I get completely distracted on this, because I don't think I'll have the wherewithal to continue after this,
We have like the concept of American dialect being monocultured during the 90s through like the 2010s, where like if you talk to a lot of Americans across the country, there is a non-zero amount of them that have a monocultural dialect. Because like I was talking with a coworker, and his dialect is not that much different than my dialect in regards to, like, how I speak, my accent. Largely. And that's fascinating given the fact that, like,
we used to have like really aggressive local dialects here in the States. Like
waspy folks up in the northeast where they say chowder or whatever the hell. And, yes, there were Kaladin, but it's weakening now, which is my point here. And I think that might be the fault of, like, universal broadcast television kind of infecting people's speech. I'm sorry, I know how to do a good Southern and not a good wasp. But like, I find that concept fascinating, and I think as monoculture dies, we have kind of an evolution of like things that are trying to fill the vacuum. Yeah, the Laura Bow accent. Standard education doesn't create standard dialect. It creates standard speech because we don't have elocution lessons anymore. And like, when we have a longer stream, I'd be happy to talk more about monoculture, but I only have about an hour and 45 minutes left here. And like, I find the idea where people are fracturing off into their own space, and like there's a broad stroke of youth space where they consume youth content, which isn't new by any chance, but it is different. There's a different evolution. Don't tell Willie about the train merger. What's this rain merger, Vummer? That's exactly what I'm getting, Blobber. Not train. I said rain. And more like California by the day. Get fucked. Get fucked, the rest of America. Take your Cali accent and enjoy it. Alright, train sliding into train. Hell yeah, we're drifting with trains now. Initial D up this ass. Alright, but to get back to the plot of Control, an unconfirmed threshold manifestation in Cauldron Lake, Washington resulted in a fictional story written by the author Alan Wake, creating an AWE in which reality was altered to match that of the story, though only locally and for a limited time. So presumably anyone who died as a result of the story was revived. Mr. Kirkland, head of investigations, was alerted September 13th, 2012 by Etched Bureau agent Frank Breaker. Oh! Sarah Breaker! That's the deputy's father! Yeah, Sarah Breaker was, our deputy lady. Oh, that's really cool. She said her dad used to be a cop and was doing something else now. That an AWE event was taking place in Bright Falls, Washington, referred to events investigated in 1970, 1976, and 1978. Breaker had received a call from Barry Wheeler, Alan Wake's literary agent, on behalf of Breaker's daughter, Sarah, who is the current sheriff of Bright Falls. A Bureau field team arrived at site 2 days later, only to confirm that the event was over. Interviews were conducted. Refer to 1970 Thomas Zane, 1976-1978 Odin Anderson, and Tor Anderson. Okay, so they were really goblining it up. That's actually pretty good. I love Odin and Tor. Alan Wake was believed to be the redacted instigator. Why is that redacted? So, the point of a redaction is to occlude information that is not necessary for people to know. So it can't be something like Alan Wake was believed to be the unfortunate or misaligned or manipulated instigator. But it's probably something like a controller and instigator. Eyewitnesses report highlight an old light switch, possibly object of power, that redacted missing. Wake was not found at the scene. Reports claimed he dived into the lake, but no body recovered in the search. Cat? Oh no. I'd rather like the weebification of America than anything else. I want to see people saying "nya" or "ara ara" on a more regular basis, mainly because it engenders the suffering of others, and I enjoy the suffering of others due to other things, because I am generally the one who is put upon in regards to these manners. I believe in them, Bummer.
I can see you're upset, Meg. Why don't you tell Uncle Mr. Bones what's wrong?
I did bad on my clairvoyance test.
You can't ace every test, Meg. You see, everyone has different brains. Some brains can talk to each other. We call this ESP.
ESP?
Some brains can lift objects like a baseball. Talk about a fly ball, eh, Meg? So who cares if you fail your clairvoyance test? Maybe your brain can throw baseballs, or talk to dead people, or make friends blind. Once we know what your brains can do, we'll know what job to give you. And if your brains are just right, you'll get to sit in the big chair.
I like how it's a mini office chair that makes it so goofy.
The big chair.
What if I don't want the big chair? Everyone wants the big chair, Meg! That's why we're all here. Use those brains to listen for once, or the only chair you'll get in is the one with straps.
So I think it is self-evident at this point that we hold these truths to be self-evident that the Threshold kids, Meg and Topher, are meant to be reflections of Dylan and Jesse, such that Dylan and Jesse are caught together much earlier. And I must add, the, what do you call it? Much earlier, and oh, I wanted to add in, I guess Darling was the one responsible for the videos, given the fact that he has a penchant for recordings, and adorable as the ones he directs for, you know, the adult members here, those child ones will screw someone up,
Ordinary for us.
which is just fantastic.
Won't change things. Finding the projector will.
Ordinary. There's so much coming together in this one.
Alright, we'll take a look at that in a minute.
New object of power, something.
Transcript of conversation. Subject Dylan Faden for review by Dr. Darling. Note, subject was alone during this outburst. DF 175216. You again? I thought I told you to leave me alone. Why are you showing me this? I can't do anything. Can't you see where I am? Why don't you help me get the fuck out of here? You always show me things I can't do anything about. Stop showing me her. I don't care anymore. And I don't care about you. You both left me here to rot. Fuck off, you bitch. I will dig my own brains out if it means getting rid of you. I don't want you here. Get the fucking message. The subject repeated the phrase fuck off numerous times before being sedated in 1753. Oh no. So presumably that is Polaris trying to give Dylan hope, but failing given the fact that
Dylan or Polaris is not a human and does not understand human psychology.
given the fact that the board, I posit that the board understands human psychology better, given that we're assuming that it is the zeitgeist of humans' position in the world. Or the global perception of humanity, where Polaris is a truly unique being such that it is unaffected by that in regards to its formation, because it's an interdimensional creature. Which we all know you have to take asbestos in order to locate. By asbestos, I mean ayahuasca or DMT. But moving to our note here, agent killed during redacted involving redacted double redacted, codename P6. So, agent killed during incident involving Dylan Faden. Outburst? Autopsy findings, blunt force injuries of the back of the head and neck, extensive trauma of the abdominal region, lacerations and contusions of the upper body and torso, fractures of the spinal cord between the L1 and L2 vertebrae, avulsion fracture of the 3rd through 10th ribs left and right, blunt force injuries of the extremities, abrasions, lacerations, contusions of the extremities, dislocation of the left and right elbow, dislocation of the left and right knee. So, given what we've seen here, that's kind of like tearing someone apart in the manner of the rack. The rack is the medieval torture device that drags someone apart, right? Presumably they were racked using psychic powers and then beaten. An avulsion is an injury in which a body structure is torn off by either trauma or surgery. The term most commonly refers to a surface trauma, where all layers of the skin have been torn away, exposing the underlying structures. I didn't know and looked it up. So that's like a partial vivisection. So per the definition Blobber posted there, as I understand it, basically like, what is it? The 3rd rib, so ladies and gentlemen, I want you to start poking yourself. The 3rd rib, if we're counting from the bottom here, would be right at the kind of upper quartile of your intestinal tract in your lower torso, and presumably the 10th is the right about where your heart is. That skin is ripped away. Oh no, that's terrible. But by shearing rather than cutting. So yeah, like someone like ripped their psychic hands in there and like ripped it out. Oh, that's just grim. After examination, it was determined that the cause of death was internal bleeding that occurred when the redacted was contorted through his redacted. That's pretty grim. Alright, any lore here that we want to examine before we take a look at our beautiful Dr. Darling, my handsome boy? Oh, I can't shoot it. Alright. I love Dr. I don't know why, but I love the character of Dr. Darling so goddamn much. Please don't contort through redacted. I mean, this is why I like the redactions. It gives us the ability to kind of think of, like, very horrifying things. I have not tried the Prestige Good mods, Kaladin.
Ordinary. So much coming together in this one case. A new object of power, something we have not seen before. I mean, coming from me, that's saying something. And the boy. Dylan Faden. Prime candidate 6. And the sister as well. Once we catch up with her. But the boy had so much potential. We're talking Northmore level readings.
Wait,
here.
I'm sorry, I needed to go back here.
And I
Did
know
he
that
say
he's
had?
but it's completely different circumstances here.
Darling. Darling. I'm gonna assume he said had so much potential.
It's remarkable. There was an incident. Yes. We lost a valuable member of our team, yes. Excessive force. Dylan has so much. But he's just a kid. I'll take the blame. He needs some slack. I mean, boys will be boys. He's exceptional and under a lot of stress. Roberts got killed. It's an unfortunate accident, that's all. Marshall needs to realize this. We will make this work. We'll make this work.
So I love Darling there, but it does kind of raise a fascinating point between the boys will be boys argument, which is overused. But I think in this context, it is bespoke or novel, such that it is made out of desperation more than anything else. And I wonder how much of that argument is true in real life, where you have like kind of affluenza situations, since we have a tendency towards like one child homes. And like, I think when you achieve a certain level of wealth, though I think this is a more pedestrian human kind of circumstance, where you have like people overlook things, or like, that's fine, because they want to preserve their legacy. Because, like, in a sense, that's all that House of Cards is about. The American concept of the show, as I have not seen the British iteration as of yet. And, like, I'd be curious if, like, we have, like, bigger homes, like, with more child, if you see kind of that instinct of, like, oh, little Timmy ran over 47 orphans. Oh, just say he's too rich to be tried. Where if you had, like, 4 sons, as, you know, you did in the medieval era, if you just wrote little Timmy off and let him face whatever fate he has. It'd be an interesting thought experiment, horrifying nonetheless, as most socioeconomic social experiments are, but it'd be novel. Boys will be boys, hiding in estrogen and wearing other gen dreams. I don't know how to interpret that, Kaladin.
Is this what Dylan wanted me to see?
QR
It didn't matter.
reproduction.
In that projector.
So that's the Bureau tracking us. This is where we learn where our most recent job was. I almost pulled a Scooby-Doo for a second there, which would have been unfortunate. Candidate P7? Is that where we get our, like, goofy suit? It's a Panic at the Disco reference.
Paranoid. I was right. The Bureau could have given me the answers, but they just stood by and watched me.
Evolution is amazing. Squirrels will adopt their cousins' orphan children. I mean, that's actually a very positive thing to say, showing that, like, something building? Family building? I'm curious why the Bureau didn't pull us in earlier, to be entirely honest. If I were to make a bet... I mean, I was assuming he was referring to trans people, but I was uncertain. But, there's our janitor job. It looks like we're fighting with the police at the top right. Rapport. We're robbing from people, i.e. business. Ordinary. I thought the city of Ordinary was, like, nuked. Then why are we still traveling around Ordinary? That's a bit weird. Either I'm misunderstanding that, or that's a plot hole within the plot here. But only when they have fewer of their own children, such as adopting, doesn't reduce the overall odds of passing their genes. I mean, it's an interesting concept to consider how much of it is a Darwinian conceptual influence versus a kind of altruistic community influence as part of the shenanigans involving, like, you know, being a child. Or being a... what do you call it? A partially sentient being. Where... I don't know where I plan on taking this conversation, so I'm just going to leave it as squirrels as partially sentient. Since that's a convenient explanation. They would just adopt them all. Purely Darwinian, else I wouldn't do the math. I mean, like... I don't think anything can truly be Darwinian outside of, like... do you need to have sentience in order for it to be truly Darwinian? Because from the Darwinian perspective, like, you understand it such that you're passing your on your own genes. Else, like, you don't understand... I don't know if you understand that your brother's children... Or did you say cousins? Did you say cousins or brothers? Yeah, your cousins, which is your... What is a cousin? A cousin is the sister... A cousin is a relative that is the offspring of your parents' brother or sister. Yeah. So, like, I don't know if you have enough, like, understanding that that is technically your genes. I think it is kind of like you grew up with Goblin A's kid. You grew up with Goblin A as you are Goblin B. Probably. Pause. Continue. And since you're familiar with Goblin B, you're like, we can take that kid since I don't have any of my own. I have the mind space to do it. Because I think, like, Darwinian kind of, like, survival of the fittest concepts, like, require a social element or a sentient element in order to articulate and understand for the host fully. Where for something like a squirrel, you understand, like, this is something I'm familiar with, so I'll bring in the familiarity. Since, like, I think a lot of, like, the heuristics we build when we're younger are modeled along the lines of familiarity. There's a fun video about how my altruism would evolve in a society. The problem is that squirrel can't communicate productively. We don't understand how well squirrels can communicate. How do we not know that squirrels have a squirrel language and we're just not good enough xenobiologists to comprehend what the squirrel language is, Kaladin? Huh? Are you an evolutionary squirrel biologist? I think not. Or I doubt not. I'm not a squirrel scientist. I am perfectly content to staying in my lane. And we're here! Eastward movement. Cause for concern in regards to our movement, Jessie Faden, who is Prime Candidate 7. She began in Wyoming in September 24th. Traveled to New England in the same day. Is that a flight? Probably a flight, since I imagine that it'd be difficult to take a bus ride from Wyoming to New England. Oh no, that's Nebraska. I'm a goof. Listen, I'm not a marsupial scientist. I'm a scientist in regards to a very select few things, some of which are arcane, some of which are pedestrian, and some of which are unfortunate. I'll leave it to your imagination in regards to which. I will say thermodynamics is in the unfortunate camp, given the fact that its relative usefulness, unless you go far deep into it, and people's understandings of it. Alright, so she arrives in Nebraska from Wyoming, so it's probably a bus. Bus again from Sydney to Iowa. Des Moines, I feel, is the capital of Iowa? She goes to Chicago. So, like, I'm gonna snip this, because I want to visualize her route for the purposes of my brain activating its almonds here. Alright, so I have the image. And now I will move you over here. And now, once again, I will grab this. I'll make sure I have no weird tabs open. Delete that. And we'll delete that as well. Given the fact that Minecraft content is superfluous. Alright, so we're on maps and we're on Screen Man now. So, we were in Wyoming, we go to Nebraska, and we go to Sydney, Nevada? Oh. Sorry, I was very confused for a second there. So Sydney, New England is here in the southwest. We go from Cheyenne Mountain, which I think is in the west of Wyoming. We go from like roughly here to here, and then from there we go to Des Moines, Iowa. Bam. That's definitely a day trip. That's like a baby day trip, because I think you can pretty much make that drive in like... Oh god. It's been a while since I've made the... Apparently there's a Sydney, Ohio. Take a look at Des Moines, and... Do we get to the directions? There we go. Sydney, Nebraska. That's a 7-hour drive. That makes about sense for a bus drive because you have an 8-hour shift. Presumably you have a similar 8-hour shift from Cheyenne to Sydney. Then we move from Des Moines to Chicago, which is over here, which looks like another 8-hour shift. To South Bend, Indiana. Isn't that where Mayor Pete's from? That sounds about right, and that's like somewhere around here. We move from like the greater Indianapolis region to Cleveland, Ohio, which I've heard lovely things about. There's a fantastic tourism video available if you haven't seen it in the last 20 years. This doesn't look like a video game. Hoovie, this is related to the lore of a video game. And I hope you bear with me here as we track the trail of our fated heroine. Or heroine. Given the fact that we don't want to have a drug content warning here. So she traveled from Cleveland to Bloomsburg, Pennsylvania. Which, given the fact that time distance is probably somewhere around Harrisburg, we're gonna pretend Belafonte is there, and then from here she arrives in New York City. So I just don't believe there's anything good in Cleveland. I mean, isn't Cleveland where you get them good, like, Philadelphia cheesesteaks? Are we looking at overly fancy houses with urinals? One day we're going to have a stream blobber where we purely look at the pissing habits of the rich and famous. But today, regrettably, I might add, is not that day. Was that a joke? It depends if you think I'm funny or not, Hoovie. But liably, it was likely an attempt at a joke, though not a very good one. I mean, what is a Philadelphia cheesesteak fundamentally other than skirt steak that is cooked with grilled onion, grilled pepper, and melted provolone? And Blobber, while I don't think Hoovie owns Victoria 3, to be entirely honest, Kaladin. Oh, you actually got Vicky 3. Okay. Baseless assumptions. I mean, local McCarthyite Wellington here just throwing wild accusations at local innocent people. I have 200 hours in Victoria 3. Okay, that I don't believe. Are we on the friends list? I think we might because of, like, EU4 shenanigans. Need to verify this. In fact, that we are. Alright, view profile. Alright, I am a snake in the grass. Hoovie undersold his Vicky 3 bona fides. I have brought great shame upon my family here, is what's happening. Yeah, this is truly copium. Yeah, 250 hours. We ain't friends, but feel free to send me a request. Wait, yeah, no, we've been friends forever, Hoovie. I'm the peddler of goddamn, not McCarthyite. Sorry, I'm tired. It's been a long work day. I'm the peddler of EU4 and Benar mod pack stuff, which is the result of the fact that, I only allow people to enjoy that who are on my friends list, which is probably why you're my friend. We'll move on from this concept. Alright, but Hoovie, if you are interested in playing Vicky 3 at... goodness gracious, what is 7 a.m. Pacific Standard? 10 a.m. If you're interested in playing a multiplayer Vicky 3 on 10 a.m. on Sunday, we'll be hosting one in Mollycord, and you're welcome. We'll open our hole here. I don't think there's any other lore we're trying to acquire here, given the fact that...
We used to play there all the time. Me and Dylan. And other kids as well. We loved it. This time, I remember, was different. We found a way in. Deeper into it, like it had shifted. We went inside, and that's
That's where we found the slide projector. A dump is a place for lost things. Things that have been thrown away. Did you ever feel that way when you were growing up, Jesse? What? No. Yes, but that has nothing to do with... Was there a slide projector at your home when you were small? No. Those were before your time, I suppose. But your family did look at photos together, maybe. In one form or the other? Maybe. When was this? Can you remember? At parties? Barbecues? How did it make you feel? Did your parents ever show pictures that embarrassed you? Was alcohol ever involved at these parties? Did your parents drink? Did that make you uncomfortable?
What the hell is this psychologist? He's so aggressive. What the fuck?
The slide projector, let me ask you this. As a child,
Holy shit,
did you ever
dog.
fantasize about worlds inside pictures? Inside a painting? You know, stepping into a painting, into a hidden world, escaping and finding adventure there, away from your parents. I don't think so. I don't remember. Maybe. I don't know.
Uvi, I do like the idea that you're a new iteration of Big Follows, just trying to get people to friend you on Steam to play various Paradox games with. One day we'll have a 30-player MP of Victoria, a 30-player MP of Anbanar where everybody's every great power and everybody can shit on Laurent because fuck them. Which reminds me, I really need to update the Anbanar mod pack. I've been enjoying it quite thoroughly.
Studied what happened in
There we go.
That's the place to start looking.
The thing is, like, the command... Like, when's the last time you played Anbanar, Hoovie? Because the command has, like, 47 crises now. That makes it very unfortunate to be a player of the game in. It was miserable. I'm sorry that you had such a negative experience in Anbanar, Blobber. I think the dwarves are a wonderful experience, but not on stream. I played it 3 months ago against the command. How was the crisis involving the shamans? You didn't get my response on the mods. We're going to be purely innocent people and play vanilla. We're going to play 100% vanilla, no mods at all. We're going to go bam, the experience that Paradox wanted, because they're wonderful people that know how to make video games, and I've never bitched about them at all in the past at all. I'm not lying to you because I'm Innocent Wellington. Everybody believe Innocent Wellington. Agent Death notification. Dear Mr. and Mrs. Potts, I regret to inform you that your son, Graham Potts, was killed in active duty this past week. While details surrounding his death are classified, I am honored to tell you he died in service to his country. You can be proud of his courage in the face of danger and his commitment to protecting the nation against her enemies. He will be remembered by his comrades and colleagues. I sincerely regret the pain that this message brings you. Take some solace knowing that his sacrifice helped protect the country he loves so much. His effects will be returned to you with all speed. Sincerely yours, Howard J. Murray, Deputy Chief of Communications, Federal Bureau of Control. I'm an innocent boy, Fish. I haven't done anything wrong. In the eyes of the law. I am a perfectly innocent man and have never done anything that runs afoul that can be legally proven in regards to the federal government and or state governments. You are innocent, but in the sense that you don't understand what you do. Oof. Played 2 games or so, did Judari campaign again, and Takiad in command, and never imploded from the disasters. That's good. Honestly, like, I'm trying to think of, like, what a good EU4 and Banar experience would be for someone who's uninitiated, and, the caldera that is the remnants of the big, huge empire that's dead is probably a bad idea. Maybe in fake HRE would probably be okay. Asia, I love with all my heart due to the fact that they have their unique mission trees. But, like, Blubber, I have to ask you, now, since it's no longer relevant, like, what is it that you love about EU4? What brings you joy when you play the game? Outside of, like, what you do on streams. Like, what brings you back? Can't really think of anything that you've ever done that's negatively impacted me, and that's all that matters. See, Hoovy gets it. My first Aminar game was Ishtralor. It's really very normal. How variable it was. No, officer, this is my own blood. No, you don't need to do a DNA test. Have a great day, officer. The Fish gets it. Unless you have a warrant, you can't test my DNA for crimes that I may or may not have committed. And that's truly the important thing, that may or may not. God, I remember the first time I played EU4. Actually, while I might be slowly being dragged into the pits of death by my Wellatonin, I still have enough agency and power within my mind to comprehend that I need to find a save point so I can liquidate some things. That before the mission trees, things would go into so many different directions. You mean when you got random missions that popped up in the event tree, Blobber? Define reading the board. Do you mean understanding the strategic environment at play? Yeah, I've played EU4, like, for full disclosure for everybody. Like, I originally was a player of Europa Universalis 3 beginning before Divine Wind. I was probably like 15 years old at the time and very bad at the game and just played the game with cheats on in order to understand what was going on. But I enjoyed it thoroughly. It was a fascinating experience to kind of learn in a sandbox playground how to play the game. Then going into EU4 and getting my ass absolutely handed to me as I was playing as Venice? I think it was Venice. But basically, like, early EU4 adopted the EU3 concept that Blobber and I are talking about here, where it is the idea of, like, I'm gonna say it, in a sense, is dynamic missions, such that, like, it's not set in stone where, like, you can randomly have, like, evolutions foisted upon you, good or bad. Which is a thing. I think I'm with Hoovy here in regards to, like, I like the system as it became. Because I really do love EU4 for the kind of, like, I don't want to say bespoke, because I'm not sure that's fully accurate anymore, but ossified mission trees that we have available to us. Because I think the idea of having, like, X Country Y mission tree available to us quite fascinating, because, like, it allows you to have a narrative arc for the era, and I love narrative arcs and things. Which is in part the entire reason why we're playing Control and the Remedyverse in general, because while I do think they're very much very goofy on the face of it, there is very much a fascinating narrative arc going through it that ties all of the games together in, for me, what is a satisfying way, though I think for most of the audience as a whole, they're like, what the hell are you doing here? Turned a game with lots of random stories into a game with a very limited set of stories.
We're going back home.
I agree with you, Paladin. But I think
Started there, and it's never gone away.
I think EU4 is a game that wasn't designed to be a sandbox, or according to the diktats of Johan, it was not something that he wanted to continue be a sandbox. Which is fine, in theory. I mean, he was, and is, and whiz the game dev, the gentleman at the helm. And I think as a result, you know, we have things going on where, like, EU4 is much more deterministic, in a sense, than EU3 was, but at the same time, Hoi 4 is much less deterministic than Hoi 3 was, much to its benefit. And I think EU5 is going in the direction, again, where it is becoming less deterministic, which hopefully will be quite delightful, much to my delight, and hopefully Blobber's delight here. But, like, I don't know how much uniqueness, fun, and, like, kind of, like, variable experiences we're going to find here in that game. What about Rapper's Delight? I'm unfamiliar with Rapper's Delight. Progress in the industry to get to mission 4x times games. When you think about Endless Legend model for this, each faction has their own story, but you don't even have to do it. This is true. No, I see where you're going, who you were saying, like, you have your own meta-narrative or narrative for each of the individual factions of, like, a general 4X game that is either leaned into or not, where EU4 leans into it quite heavily because that's the entire point of the nation being there. And in part, the goal for EU4 is to have a semi-deterministic outcome such that without player intervention, you're roughly going to have the same map in 1836, or I should say 1821, that you should have in 1821, though that never happens. But I think that is the design intent. It was very much designed to be a sandbox. EU3 was more deterministic than EU4 by far. I'm not sure I agree with that, Kaladin, but it's been a very long time since I played EU3. Less deterministic at a release, so they can sell you 1,000 mission tree expansions. Appropriate level of jaded. I mean, that's because CK3 is like the cuck the cuck paradox game. As much as I do love it, I think that they went into too much. It's like having unseasoned chicken. I love chicken. But at the same time, you really can't enjoy chicken, or any other food for that matter, without some level of spice. I mean, even if you go back to the peasant era, where you're relying on piss and vinegar in order to be able to feed your family at night, you had some level of spices going on, and, like, I think that's why, like, we see a lot of people have problems with CK3. It's just the pure lack of flavor, which is tragic. Now I want stir-fried chicken. I mean, Blobber. I've done nothing but elucidate myself as a simulacrum of the devil here at times. I mean, even me myself, I have lemon chicken sitting in the fridge should I wish to make a barbecue sandwich for myself, and I left my Sheba Hut, which is a stoner-coated sandwich place, DoorDash order that I placed while at work today, in the fridge at work, and hopefully it won't be tossed by tomorrow. But we'll see. That's a bit of a test I left for my beloved, quote-unquote, corporation here. I do love stir-fried chicken, but to segue back into the video game before I'm distracted for the next 55 minutes, Redacted. She was admitted to a mental ward for emotional instability soon after relocating to Illinois with her family in 1914. The item only appeared on record again in 2006 when the Bureau investigated the sudden rise in disappearance of Redacted. You know, I was attempting to go with the British accent there, but I think that drifted into mush far too quickly. So I'll go to my basic bitch accent here. Agents found the item hanging in the local library. They contained it quickly, though the missing people of the town were never recovered. As of August 18, 1915, we certified that the case of Mrs. Hydrangea has shown her to be a lunatic under the reasons of hysteria, bad company, and imaginary female trouble. Her fixation with the family looking glass is noteworthy, though not an uncommon matter when considering the female disposition. Mrs. Carver is a fit subject for the lunatic asylum and will remain in its confines until the affliction has passed. Signed, Dr. Redacted. I think in both iterations I was Southern British and Southern American, which is unfortunate in a variety of regards, mainly my skill as a voice overman. But such is the way of the world. No, but seriously though, I very much need to get to a save point so I can kind of delete my current backlog of resources. Alrighty. No, but EU4 is a game that I love with all my heart, even if it is goofy as all get out. And I'm actually a very massive fan of the... I thought I was inoculated to the goo that is the... mycelium? Mycoloid? Menace. Which apparently I am. I just was injured for no reason. We'll avoid Mr. Chest for now because our inventory is not fully satisfied. Myconoid. I like Myconoid. Speaking of Myconoid, I finally got Cataclysm Dark Days Ahead working on my computer again, which I'm very delighted about because it is my favorite game regarding the concepts of Apocalypse and Oblivion. Though, actually, now that I think about it, we need to add Oblivion to the long playlist, which I think I have already established, but I want to re-establish here because I'm very much enamored with that idea. Astral Constructs. I think this is where we get to deconstruct our mods. No, I do them in my own inventory. I'm just a goblin. Loadout. Go here. Yep, there it is, deconstruct. Rarity. I think we'll destroy anything below level 4 and then triage. So we have something that increases the health pickups for us there.
Headshot boost. Currently we have reload speed while shielded. Nothing here we really quite desire. Aiming, accuracy, blast radius. Keep that. And delete everything else. But like, upon playing Cataclysm again, I am filled with a wretched feeling upon my heart due to its lack of kind of simplicity, though at the same time there is a benefit provided by the complexity that there has been since added. The thing that jumps to my mind the most is the idea that they've added in an item specifically for seatbelts rather than moving it, or allowing it to continue to be a short rope. But like, I think we're gonna do some streams about it soon, because the allure of the apocalypse is something that I think we all feel quite deeply in our hearts, especially for those of us who play Fallout or Fallout-related games, because it is a fascinating, like, narrative concept to touch upon. And in cataclysmic fashion, it's always quite doubly delightful to play on hard mode, where everything is going wrong at once. And surviving that is always a delightful little challenge. And, more so, I might add, the fact that it's running on my computer again without it crashing within, like, a day or an hour in-game is very reassuring. Which has been my problem recently. I'm glad you've been enjoying Wasteland. It has made me want... Watching you play it a bit has made me want to kind of get into it, because, like, I like tactical RPGs, but I think I have to steel my heart against that instinct and wait until we play Jagged Alliance 3, which I've done a bit of, and is absolutely delightful. Do I have a favorite apocalypse? Could you further define that question, Hoovy? Like, do I have a favorite apocalypse type? Like, do I wish we got rained on by asteroids or get attacked by aliens? Or is it more along the lines, do I find, like, a narrative arc of a particular apocalypse more fascinating? While that's being formulated, I need to figure out what we're going to do. We'll keep Psychic Possession. Health is good. I think we'll keep everything that's 4 and above and just delete the 3s. You know, like, all those typical media apocalypses... That's a very good question. I think... For once, I won't have a basic bitch answer and say, like, oh, I like anything. I think the apocalypses that I find myself most enamored with are not those that drive us apart, such that one could argue that the Purge, in a sense, is an apocalypse. But kind of like the apocalypse scenarios that pull us together. So I draw myself away from, like, the kind of Doom apocalypses where you have a demonic horde corrupting and manipulating the innocence of individuals to terrible ends, because that sows a level of distrust. And, like, I think, like, the idea of Day After Tomorrow, where, like, you have a climactic event that forces people to fight against nature in one final cataclysmic battle, to be something that I enjoy, because, like,
I like the hope of people fighting and dying together. I don't know, I like happy endings. It does make me a bit simple, but that's perfectly alright. I'm gonna go with Disco Elysium when it comes to apocalyptic concepts. You mentioned the Abyss earlier, and the encroachment of the hail is really understating the game. It's absolutely ending the world. So you see, I really need to finish Disco Elysium. We might actually make a stream of it one day, because I do really much like the game, but like, I am nerd sniped quite easily and need kind of like a commitment mechanism to kind of deal with things like that. Because while it might be fun, new, neat, and novel, it is oh no. It's something that I've only gotten as far as I've gotten Harry his gun back, learned the truth of what happened to our very amazing police vehicle. But I don't recall what else I've done, since the last time I think I played Disco Elysium was 2022. Let's take a look. Pulling up Steam on the side here. 2021. October 8th, 2021, I had 35 hours into the game and only 4 achievements. Preach, free market for 9 times. Say 7 deranged superstar lines. Really get Kim to trust you, which I'm quite proud about. And say 5 art cop lines. You mentioned like 8 games you want to stream soon in the last 10 minutes. You're gonna either prioritize or have a hell of a lot more time. Well, I am taking a week off in the nearest future, though, to add more into the pile of doom here that you're mentioning, Fish. I really want to do a Hearts of Iron stream where chat is high command.
Maybe there's a control panel nearby.
I.e. where chat will basically spend their channel points to buy political influence and influence the diktats of high command, which is me. And we'll be playing the hardest Hearts of Iron mod I know, which is Roll to Blaze, so I'm expecting it to be an unmitigated disaster. I don't know if you've ever watched Don't Look Up. Years ago, you got kind of a flack for being kind of ham-handed in its metaphors, but I enjoyed it. There's some kind of that sentiment you're mentioning at the end. In a sense, it is Hoi Cowed control, though. Oh, we're going to have less control. It'll be more control for less people. That will probably vote on every 2 years initially to kind of represent the power struggle. And then once every year, maybe even 6 months as we get later into the game and time slows down. I mean, if I had 1,000 subscribers, I could afford to be a full-time streamer. Though that is not anywhere near the case of reality. Alrighty. Work chat. Olin Teeth. Guess who just had to inspect an inbound delivery of like 100 teensy tiny boxes? Me, that's who. And you know what's inside each one? A single human tooth. Fucking gross. Airwelly, I've heard of a new wonder tank developed by New Zealanders. We will be playing Germany in World of Blaze. In that particular iteration, and I want to see if, with chat's influence, we can still achieve victory against the Soviet Union. Responsible adult refuses to quit job and commit full-time to streaming. What a world. I mean, I have my own irresponsibilities that I'm engaging in, such as considering whether or not I'm going to do an accelerated graduate program this year, which I need to decide by today because I need to email back a recruiter. Actually, regardless, I need to do that before I go to bed today because I asked a friend to expend some political capital to do that. But regardless, the what is it? Not Faustian bargain. What's the other one? Sisyphean task I'm attempting is along that line. Kai wins, we'd scream here. I'm thinking about turning off the Kai win thing though, Blobber, because like I did that for me rather than anybody else, and the regrettable thing about the Kai win screams is like I don't benefit from that at all. Because of the fact that like I don't have the audio fed into my head whenever someone subscribes. So like we just have Kai win dying for the benefit of chat, and like that's not why it's there. Can there be more Kai win actually, or Dukat? I would love for there to be more Kai win or Dukat, but I don't trust our modern Star Wars writers. Fuck me, I said Star Wars and not Star Trek. I don't trust our recent generation of Star Trek writers to do justice to our beloved Gul Dukat or Kai win, given the fact that the only good Star Trek series that I'm aware of over the last decade is, regrettably, the animated one, which I love and I have so many snips of, but I don't remember the name. Not Generations, that's the one where Janeway is the Admiral, but it is also animated. Brave New World is the one that might be good, but I still need to watch it. Discovery's just bad from everything I've heard and seen. Picard is just bad. Goodness, what am I forgetting about? Discovery's god-awful. I watched one season of it. I watched the first episode and then stopped watching it. Lower Decks. Yes, thank you, Mord. Lower Decks, I think... The thing is, like, okay, here's what it is. The reason why Lower Decks is good is because it is made by people who I can, in a very biased manner, assume love Star Trek. Because, like, there's a lot of little things in there that are homages to other Treks. Like, we see Kira Nerys in a later rendition of the series. Specifically Season 4, I recall. God, I loved Voyager. I think Voyager is my favorite of the actual mainline Treks. Maybe DS9 might be it, because like I think DS9 or Voyager, I think honestly speaking, Janeway is the best captain. Sisko is the worst captain, but he's the best admiral. I.e., I think he's good at leading people at a macro level, and I think he is not susceptible to becoming evil like 90% of Starfleet admirals, which is laudable when you consider it. Yeah, no, like he is someone who needs to be promoted another level or two before he'll be like gold star in his position. Which I guess in a sense happens, given the fact that he's promoted very, very high at the end of DS9. I think Picard is the worst captain, to be entirely honest here. Like, after having watched, like, DS9, TNG, Voyager, and I still need to watch, like, more of the original series, but everything I've seen of Kirk, he might be a wee bit of a slut, but that's forgivable.
given the fact that he's actually able to get his crew out of crises more regularly than Picard. I think Picard is universally the worst captain. He's like the Nepo baby captain. That's actually me being a bit mean, but he's a walking penis. He can't help himself. What? Okay, I'm sorry. TNG has been ruined for me given how many, like, how do I say this without being impolite? Given the number of off-color episodes of TNG there are, I think Picard is a very bad captain, or the writers have put him into a very unfortunate position. Both of which are accurate. Alright, Hoovy. Janeway. Do we agree Janeway #1 captain? And, like, this is coming from me, like, I heard here... Okay, Fish... Okay, who's your #1 captain, Fishy? Have you seen this man drink tea? I have seen this man drink tea. I like his tea. I think Picard is someone that you would like to talk to, but, like... I think... God, I forgot why Picard made me so mad. Because Janeway made me mad as well, I'm not going to deny. Yeah, no, I'm not gonna die. New Picard doesn't count because it's not Picard. That's like Mirror Universe Picard. Given the fact how, like, goofy and evil he is. I don't want to say evil because it's actually not thematically correct. He's just... Patrick Stewart did not want to do Picard again, and he demanded that he be given the script in order to entertain such thoughts. For me, it's probably Sisko, Picard, Kirk, Janeway. Of the big four. But the thing is, like... I do not think Picard could have handled the Delta Quadrant. I think Picard was unsuitable for handling the crew being sent into the Delta Quadrant. And I think Janeway is uniquely suited for that. I don't think Sisko could have handled it. I think he would have handled it better than Picard. But, like... Janeway, I think, of the three, is the only one that could have done it. Avery Brooks' performance as Sisko is polarizing to some people, but I love his overacting and intensity. Those moments are standouts for me. Yeah, no, I love Sisko. I just think, like, he is not good in the position he's in terms of, like, a leadership position. I think he needs to be more of a macro level leader, and while he is capable at executing his job as commander and then captain, I think, like, he needs that one little more push to be admiral in order to be kind of like the balance between considering, like, his subordinates and, like, actually executing kind of like the strategic task that is required by Starfleet. Yeah, I don't think Picard could have handled the Delta Quadrant, given, like, you think of the psychic breaks and trauma that have occurred over the course of, like, TNG, and there's a, like, I have watched it recently. Like, I have watched it since I became a fully formed adult. And there's a lot of psychic trauma that occurs in TNG that I think that when I hear people talk about TNG is forgotten about, and, like, it is not good. And this is true, Mort. He was a fleet captain in all but name. Granted, the fleet was not impressive given the fact it was a series of, like, stealth cruisers? Destroyers? Frigates? Probably frigates would probably be the most accurate term in the Star Trek terminology.
He's less rule of law, and that makes him a poor admiral candidate, but true Federation. But the thing is, like, Hoovy, we have to consider how many people who are quote-unquote true admiral candidates that are evil. Like, has anyone... Okay, so, like, we have the whole meme of, like, the number of, like, photon torpedoes fired by Janeway in YouTube, where it's, like, they fire, like, 50 more photon torpedoes than they say they have available to them at the beginning of the thing. And let's not even talk about how many, like, shuttlecraft that they blow up. But, like, have we had a YouTube supercut video of, like, hello, I'm an admiral. Oh, I'm actually unspeakably evil for the Federation. I would argue that even Kirk, while not evil, is at least incompetent once he arrives at the position of admiral. That there's something going on that's truly profane when it comes to the Star Trek Admiralty that we're not considering or sufficiently horrified by here. Like, literally the end of the first season of TNG, you have, like, worm people having infested, purloined, and suckered, like, an appreciable portion, if not numerically influence-wise, of Federation High Command. Defiant, the evil admiral trope is crazy in TOS. Yeah, it is, but it's also crazy in TNG. Like, every single admiral you come across in TNG and Voyager, granted you don't really come across them in Voyager, but TNG and DS9, like, 80% of them are evil. I think the one that talks about the Khitomer Accords is canon. We have to consider that canon because, like, that's actually a legitimately good TOS movie. Because that's the one where Picard... Why do I say Picard? Hank Azaria? Not Hank Azaria. That's the Simpsons man. Homer Simpson, no, that's still the wrong voice. Sex Man. Who's Sex Man? We were literally just talking about him. Michael Jordan from Priceline. Kirk. Captain Kirk. Thank you, Hoovy. Sex Man. Well, like, we know that the trope regarding Kirk is that he's a bit of a hoe. Yeah, like, Fish says here, he's a walking penis. And whether or not that might be a fair or unfair characterization of the character, it is what is in the Zeitgeist, and Zeitgeist is thematically on brand for the game we're currently playing. I need to see more of the original series before I can make a true opinion on that. Because I've only seen a wee bit of TOS. And to be honest, everything I've seen has been a pleasant, if not an outright delight. Especially more than hard. You will fuck anything vaguely feel humanoid looking and female, probably. Odo is a catch. Oh, Mama Troy is such a menace. Oh. I just love that that's his wife. 'Cause Mama Troy is, not... God, what's his name? The designer of Star Trek. No, not Renee Auberjonois. The creator of Star Trek's wife is Lwaxana. Gene Roddenberry. Yeah, that's Gene Roddenberry's wife. What? I can't discuss horrifying concepts that are profane to the human mind without joy, Kaladin? Pshaw, I say to you. We must find joy in terror, otherwise terror will become a true thing that can capture and render us deficient. Hoovy, I have had a 12-hour shift going into a stream, and I'm on my melatonin. This is not going to be... I can have a strong start, because I do have that riz at times, as the kids say. But I cannot maintain that riz. So we have to imagine I had a movie moment where I have a eloquent, clappable moment for us all. Well, thank you, Hoopy. I've also had a the bit of melatonin. I think the melatonin is the most sinful part of this affair. I mean, 12-hour shifts aren't that bad in my time of doing them, so long as you have sufficient breaks, and are able to extract buffer time for yourself, which you can do. I did call it Wellatonin here, Hoovy. We have a series of brand words and things that have not taken off at all, which is why I'm not a humble drug salesman like many of our streamer and or online media persona compatriots are. I'd buy your drugs. I think many people would buy my drugs if they were of the psychedelic variety, if one could see only what I could see. But speaking of things that I can see, altered examination request, airplane wreckage. The airplane in question has been brought in from a private airfield located in the town of Ordinary, Cincinnati. It is suspected to be connected to the Ordinary AWE. See case file redacted for details, and is being evaluated for altered status. The plane is currently being stored in the transit corridor in the containment sector, brought there through the New York subway tunnel, special access redacted. More information on Tunnel Redacted and links to urban legends centered on ghost stations, abandoned tracks, and redacted. See File 4-12-4521. The plane's black box is currently being evaluated for redacted, and initial readings have been taken by a research team, though no altered status has been detected. Refer to 9-12-8371 for a full report. Hank Hill, paranormal investigator and paranormal paraphernalia collector. I'm glad everybody kind of got the off-brand thing I was going for there. I feel since we have the advent of Neo, King of the Hill, and this is a blue-collar task, we have to bring in our fated friend, and hopefully never foe, Hank Hill. To do this. And the thing is, like, I don't think King of the Hill really has, like, Halloween episodes that, like, Family Guy, American Dad, or The Simpsons do, because it's all very routed in, like, the simplicity and the calmness that can be invoked in one's American life. Though not so American lifeable to be featured on NPR, whose segment that I'm attempting to refer to I don't even remember. I think it's This American Life. But regardless, I wish we had more horror episodes from King of the Hill, but I still need to watch King of the Hill. I'm going through American Dad right now. It's been a while since I've seen This American Life. I remember Lake Wobegon when I was a kid. That was my favorite NPR thing. What is Lake Wobegon segment? That's part of Prairie Home Companion. God, I miss Prairie Home Companion. I need to start seeing if there's any of that still done. Ordinary AWE Stage 1. A. Dump. Witness testimonies. The first slide was a room with a dirty wallpaper. Dolls on a shelf. There were lots of dolls. Dylan Faden, interview 2002. The house was empty. No one lived there. We played in there a lot. It was our secret playhouse. Jesse Faden therapy session 2010. I went to school with Neil. Some kids called him Nosebleed Neil. Note, likely Neil Hosenberg missing. It was mean. He had asthma. Tom. Note, likely Tom Barlow, comma, missing, and his gang. Freddy. Note, likely Frederick Bartwell, missing. Hugo. Note, no one by this name was found in public records. Bullied him. We brought Neil to the dump to play. Dylan Faden interview 2002. Unconfirmed existence of additional slide designation house. I would live for when Wait, Don't Tell Me would come by on my mom's car. Yeah, like, That's a rope with some chest hair. Exactly. We gotta pick the bully kid and take him into Zap Brannigan reading that memo. God, I haven't tried to do a Zap Brannigan. We can try doing that with another one. But first.
You're listening to America Overnight, celebrating 29 years, shining a light in the shadows. Thank you for staying with us. Here's our first call.
What I'm about to tell you, if they found out, I don't know what would happen.
If who found out, brother?
The men in the suits. They told me it was an industrial accident, but this is something else. Something nobody talks about. Ordinary.
This certainly doesn't sound very ordinary, Colin.
No, not ordinary. Ordinary. It's a town. And it wasn't an industrial accident. I mean, that's what they said. But that's bullshit.
Whoa, please watch the language, Colin. It may be 2 a.m., but we're still on the show.
I'm sorry. It's just, my brother lived there. He said the town was destroyed, but it wasn't. I went there. The people are gone, but the town's there. It's still there.
So the population of an entire town disappears, yet the town remains. Tell me, was the phrase, there is no salvation written anywhere?
I'm not sure.
The same thing happened in Brazil in 23, a village called Fort Verde. More than 600 people just up and left. The government said they were fleeing guerrilla forces, but we know the truth. A mass abduction. As predicted by my regular guest, Dr. Quincy Reagan.
Abduction? You mean aliens? That's bullshit! I know they're lying!
Now I warned you about the language, caller. I'm afraid we're gonna have to cut you off. And good timing too. It's time for a short break. Hang in there. America Overnight will be right back.
So for those of you who weren't here for previous Control streams, America Overnight is our coast-to-coast AM, or for our non-American audiences here, a AM frequency broadcast that focuses on the mysterious, mystical, and the not-so-mundane. That is actually a psyop by the government in order to trick people into revealing the psychic conundrums that are present in the world. Which I haven't listened to it at all, Hoovy, but just from that description, it makes me kind of want to listen to it just to see what, like, crazy shenanigans people are up to. But regardless, in the context of this game, that right there is a psyop used to discover AWE's oops objects of power and such not, in order to guide the Federal Bureau of Control in their quest to understand the supernatural and supernatural. Ordinary, AWE 24 from 2002, August 30th to September 14th, 2002, Ordinary, Maine. Event summary: an AWE occurred in the town of Ordinary, caused by an object of power, slide projector ID, object of power 15, discovered by local children at the dump outside of town. When a specific set of slides are used in the projector, the projected images open doorways to other dimensions. Multiple slides were used by the children, resulting in the disappearance of the town's adult population. August 30th, 2002, siblings Dylan Faden, 10, see Prime Candidate 6 material, and Jesse Faden, 11, see Prime Candidate 7 material, were playing at the local dump when they found a discarded slide projector, see OOP 15 case file and Darling presentation redacted for details. Team led by Director Trench and Dr. Darling arrived at the site on September 14th. The AWE had ended, but the team found the Baden children, who led them to the slide projector and the slides, which had been burned with the exception of one. Jesse escaped when agents attempted to detain the pair. In total, 17 surviving individuals were found in town. All of them were brought in for questioning and testing. See interviews redacted and Prime Candidate program files redacted. I like listening to radio myself. It used to be a pastime of mine when I was much more not having of podcasts. And my radio habits, while still technically massive in terms of like the theme and medium in which I consume things, are now in a different kind of set. We'll look at Darling's presentation on a proper screen in a second here. Is there a Welly podcast I don't know about? There is a podcast that I want to make at some point called Before Alpha Centauri that focuses on the evolution of various aspects of human society and their evolutions. Season 1 would be the evolution of humans structuring themselves in a how humans structure themselves in a I don't want to say socioeconomic, but a social structure manner. How it evolved from the basic family unit in that like was Lego bricked together in tribes, eventually evolving into the scale that we see now, where we would have bonus episodes every week that is revolving around the topic, where we examine that social structures that were evolved in eras of not predation, though did involve predation given the fact the level of predators at play, but deprivation, are not unique, and we have invented independently across all different cultures, across all different times, and have reinvented for our benefit throughout history, which I find fascinating. Though, I need a research assistant on that because I actually want to utilize papers to better frame my arguments for that. Though, we might have a benefit of that in regards to generative AI in selecting papers that I can then read myself, acting as a off-brand research assistant because I can't afford to pay anybody. Read Ultra Society by Peter Turchin then. Peter Turchin, why is that name familiar? We'll pull this up. Peter Turchin, Russian-American scientist. What is your literature? Quantitative analysis of movement, population redistribution, animals and plants, population dynamics, historical... Oh! War and Peace and War! I actually have that book. I don't think it's in a storage locker. I think it's somewhere locked in this room with me. Ultra Society, How 10,000 Years of War Made Humans the Greatest Cooperators on Earth. Yeah. No, I think that is a correct thing, and I think that a lot of people's... I think that concept is the reason why Hobbes is inherently wrong in his assessment of humanity. While, in a sense, we might be terrible at the evolutionary level, humanity is a pack species, and if you have the correct stimuli, and I'm going to posit that stimuli isn't too terribly hard to acquire, you can have people pack together in spite of like whatever other heuristics they've constructed around themselves for the purposes of survival or whatnot, which is why aliens would be Pog. But yeah, no, like, I think the... What? I need to read that, actually. I don't know what I closed out. It was like The Ordinary something. Quarry Incident, research, I can't believe you don't like Hobbes. I think Hobbes is a cuck, Kaladin. I think he's a big cuck. Alright, I'm gonna assume it's this one. Ordinary AWE, Stage 4A, Town Proper, Witness Testimonies. Jesse and me followed the dung monkeys to the cave. There was a lot of them. More of the kids from town had joined up. It was really scary. Jesse grabbed the projector, and we ran as fast as we could. They chased us. I fell and hurt my knee. Jesse tried to help me, but the dung monkeys were coming. They were just about to get us. But then Neil showed up. Neil looked like a dog, like a melted dog, but I knew it was him. Neil said a lot of times he didn't like being a boy because Tom just beat him up. I think he liked being a dog. Dylan Faden, interviewed 2002. The projector wouldn't turn off, so we changed the slide to the hand. I heard her immediately. She promised to help. Jesse Faden, therapy session 2010. Jesse said we should call her Polaris. It's because she was doing stars at school. Dylan Faden, interview 2002. Extrapolated information. Additional slide, designation hand, SID 36 is verified and bureau possession. Unconfirmed existence of paranatural entity designation Dog Neil EID -19930. I think Hobbesian social contract type thought has a place as a practical appliance. I think Hobbes is correct within very niche contexts in the same manner that... God, who's that motherfucker that intellectually allowed for the potato famine? Not Darwinian, social theory, Malthus. I think Hobbes and Malthus are both correct within very constrained circumstances. And I think the issue therein lies that people look at the arguments put forth by Malthus and Hobbes and just assume them to be universally correct, much to the detriment of their fellow man, which is regrettable. I mean, I agree with you, Kaladin, but, like, there is a book that was published by, economics professor at University of California, not Chico, the one west of Sacramento. God, what's the city west of Sacramento? Fresno. Let's say Fresno. I know that's wrong. And basically, like, Hobbes is correct up until the Industrial Revolution. It's actually a fascinating book. God. Economics, University west of Sacramento. I think it's not Fresno, but not Chico. I'm gonna have to go on maps, don't I? I've been to the Mondavi Center there. Mondavi Center, for those of you who are... Davis. UC Davis. Books published by Economics UC Davis professor. Not Freedom to Win, not Game Theory. Oh, some of these folks look like crackheads. I think Gregory Clark. Yeah, it is Gregory Clark. Gregory Clark. Fuck me. Gregory Clark books. Alright, we go to Screen Man again. So, the book that I'm thinking of is A Farewell to Ulm. Has been criticized for lack of empirical support. Okay, fair. But, like, I haven't read this in damn near a decade. And basically, the premise of A Farewell to Alms, or part of the premise, look at the PDF, was that if you look at, like, the socio-economic capacity of, like, people, here we go, which they defined as income per person, where if we look at this, like, let's ignore everything. So Malthus made his observation here right around where the Industrial Revolution is, and if we treat income as a perfect substitution for capacity to acquire and consume calories, we have a true Malthusian trap from, like, the ancient era to, like, the advent of the Industrial Revolution. Now, there's tons of problems we can have with this, but for the purpose of this argument that I'm trying to make here, like, there is a point where civilizations evolve to, and whether or not it's due to social crisis or environmental crisis that leads to a decline in incomes, whether it's like what declines incomes? An abundance of people, so people fucking, so success. So the perils of success
impact things and yada yada yada. Not even that I think it's completely wrong, it's just like an R. Kelly cartoon with nonsensical labels. Malthusian thought has been such a negative for humanity, it's really impressive he's managed to do such harm. I mean, I'm not a R. Kelly lore man. All I know is he pissed on a lady or two. Or more than two. So I won't comment on that. Stan Kelly? I'm unfamiliar with Stan Kelly. Oh. I see what you mean. Our most beloved boy from The Onion. Indeed, thermodynamics are part of Hoi. And now people can't watch Trapped in the Closet, which is sad. We can always watch the South Park rendition of it, which is quite good. But back to Video Game. But like, I think, regardless of anything else, we have a perpetual rise and fall relative to a same level of kind of like SOL and Vicky, if we take it. Like, whether or not it's the Roman Empire, the Qing Empire, or the Song Dynasty, or the Holy Roman Empire under Charlemagne. Now, some of these things aren't the same as the other in regards to, like, economic success of the people who are in the lower or middle strata. But, like, we always came up against the ceiling that, if I recall correctly, the thesis of A Farewell to Arms required an early era of globalization to overcome. Now, I am uncertain if I am confusing A Farewell to Arms with not Guns, Germs, and Steel, but Why the West Rules for Now, which is, I think, regardless of the correctness of it, is a fascinating thought experiment. And I think when it comes to economics, we need to look at the novelty of the ideas until we come to such a point where the discipline is fully systemized and capable to describe things as adequately as physics, which we are nowhere near to. And if we were near to it, we'd be able to Harry Seldon things, and regrettably we can't quite do that yet. Alright, but we need to look at Dr. Darling's argument here, so we're going to then switch to that, and I'm going to probably step away for a moment. Read more Peter Turchin because he says we can. Are you referencing that to me, Nemi, or are you referencing that to Kaladin? Dynamics? To you? Turchin is a fascinating character. I guess we're doing a Darling presentation.
There is a curious correlation with the yet unknowable forces intruding upon our world, in the form of altered world events. These forces gravitate toward archetypal objects, a gun, a television, a supposedly haunted house. So clearly humanity affects this process. Our collective unconscious is a map of sorts. We hold the key, but we don't know how to use it. We create these archetypes through everyday life, popular culture, urban legends, but we are observing and influencing a complicated system in action. We can change the likelihood of something being a receptacle for these forces just by thinking about it. But we haven't found a method to control the outcome. And yet, there's something unique in us, in our dreams, in the conceptual reality with power with our minds. What's the cause and what's the effect? Are we the starting point or just necessary evil in this. A byproduct, a reflection, a projection. We'll struggle to find the answers to these hard questions, or die trying.
Alright, we rapidly approach the end of time in regards to I have to stream and have a wonderful nap, Nemi.
These forces gravitate toward archetypal objects, a gun, a television.
But Kaladin, I have to razz you here. You're breaking my heart, my good sir. Implying that I'm not thought-provoking enough to make you think. Truly, you're breaking my heart here. Why would you be so cruel? Huh. I guess that wasn't a elevated battle.
Annual evaluation of Dylan Faden, formerly P6, performed by Dr. Carla Vaughn. The questions asked will correspond to the 5th iteration of the Gunner's psychological assessment. Are you ready, Dylan? Let's begin then. In a single word, describe the world around you.
Where's Casper?
Dr. Darling is out of the building today.
He's never out. He didn't want to come, please. He never visits, not since Roberts. Tell Darling it wasn't my fault.
We'll look at this in here since there's less noise.
Annual evaluation of Dylan Faden, formerly P6, performed by Dr. Carla Vaughn. The questions asked here correspond to the 5th iteration of the Gunner's psychological assessment. Are you ready, Dylan? Let's begin then. In a single word, describe the world around you.
Where's Casper?
Dr. Darling is out of the building today.
He's never out. He didn't want to come, did he? He never visits, not since Roberts. Tell Darling it wasn't my fault. I couldn't control it yet, but I can now. I learned. Will you tell him?
In a single word, describe the world around you.
A prison. A cold, empty prison. Not even a poster on the wall.
Mm-hmm. What is the next number in the sequence 3, 6, 9, 12, 15?
18.
What day is it today?
How the hell would I know? It's not like you give me a calendar.
You find a rabbit in the woods. It is breathing, but not moving. You cannot see any blood. What do you do?
Leave it.
Expand on that.
It doesn't matter. The rabbit's not real. None of it's real.
What day is it today?
Do you enjoy asking people questions that can't be answered? Is this what gets you up in the morning? What you dreamed of doing as a scared, stupid little girl?
Can you describe a dog to me?
In Ordinary, we had a friend. Nosebleed Neil. And when it all went crazy, you know what I mean. Nosebleed Neil turned into a dog. Or something like a dog.
What day is it tomorrow?
Fuck off! I don't know! There is no calendar! How can I fucking know?
Dylan, calm down.
Fuck you! Fuck you and fuck Casper! Hey! Are you watching this, you old fuck? Did you send your bitch because you're too scared of me? Where is Casper?
Security, get a team in here. I couldn't control it yet, but I can.
That's the crux of the matter, Kaladin, is we have a child that is raised by someone who is nothing but a scientist and is utilizing them for their value rather than like the banal elements of love. And like, as a result, like, I'm not much one for evolutionary psychology or gestational, childhood psychology, how you rear a young to maturity. But I know in general that othering is a very dangerous thing. So pedagogy is about teaching, not about raising, I would argue. But that's pedantics at this point. But like, what I'm trying to get across here is the idea that you have someone who is being raised by like the cold, loveless embrace of my beloved science or intellectualism, and not understanding that there is like a level of affirmation and inclusion and all of that you need to do in order to rear a child in a healthy manner without them turning into a goddamn sociopath. And like, for lack of a better term, it's the whole kind of traditional cadence that we see in regards to like even adults, where you treat someone as a particular stereotype or a thing, and they end up conforming to that thing because in part that is what is expected of them, and in part that is where they find their affirmation. So in the case of Dylan here, he is nothing more than a tool, so for lack of a better term, he acts like a tool. I will not comment on that, Kaladin, because that is not my purview about what you do with your loins. Ordinary AWE Stage 1B Dump. Witness testimonies, and I feel my throat falling away from me here. The second slide we called the meadow, but it was really just an empty lot with a bunch of weeds. There was a shack and a phone line. It smelled like flowers there. It was powerful, intoxicating. We had a crazy dream there. It must have been because of the smell. I didn't like it. Didn't like losing control in the dreams. Everything was melting. And then we'd come out. Everything had melted around the projector. Jesse Faden, Therapy Session 2010. Neil was really into it. We found out he'd been coming there more and more on his own. Then Tom beat the secret out of Neil and found the projector. He and his goons took it. Jesse Faden, Therapy Session 2010. We thought Neil had got lost inside the meadow when Tom changed the slides, but that's not what happened. Unconfirmed existence of additional slide designation meadow. So presumably something involving the meadow is what allowed small child Neil to become melted dog.
It's all here. Our home, our school, the woods, the dump.
So presumably this is our home. I think we finally found physics objects that are immune to our wiles, or at least partially so. Which, while breaking my heart, is perfectly fine. Stage 1. Turntable, transit corridor, ordinary dump site. They're so small. I mean, when the government is doing a mock-up of your town, Kaladin, because it has a super secret psyop going on, we gotta have, like, people going on. Oh, this is the dump. So the AWE occurred here at the dump, and then radiated out in different stages, where then it absorbed the adults into its realm of doom. So presumably it got to stage 4 or stage 5, which would be a bit beyond this point, before it was contained by either us at the time, the small children, or the Bureau, which would be Director Trench and my beloved Casper Darling, who is our goateed goofball. But I think I will head back over here and trigger our save functionality, because it is 8:15 a.m. and I need to be awake in another 7 hours? 6 hours and 45 minutes now, and I would like to get more EP time under my belt. I hope everybody enjoyed today's stream. I certainly did, because I love the Remedyverse. I think we are going to do Alan Wake 2 before we endeavor to enjoy the travails of reality. We have Ninja doing Civilization 5, and FG's is doing Brotato. Brotato is a video game that looks like a Vampire Survivor-like. And Civilization 5 is Civilization 5. So we will raid into Ninja. Yeah. We'll end our broadcast here.